This is WRP. I'm Cici McNair and I'm a private detective. You are listening to Basic Black, vignettes of crime, scandal, and death. I want to tell you a story about a missing head, a royal head, specifically King Henry IV's head. Let's go back to Paris in the mid-1500s. Henry was a very popular king, known as Henry the Great, Henry the Good, Henry of Navarre. He had many mistresses and sired many children. He was loved. He was thought to be a kind man. Henry was a patron of the arts, chiefly architecture. Two of his projects were the pont-neuf and the elegant Place de Vosges. Maybe his greatest contribution was the 1589 Edict of Nantes. This ended civil war and gave religious freedom to Protestants. But there were people who wanted Henry dead. A Catholic fanatic stabbed him to death in Paris in the spring of 1610. King Henry was buried at Basilica Saint-Denis. Now we know that many of the French have lost their heads, but this is a different sort of story. In 1793, revolutionaries ransacked the basilica. They plundered the royal tombs, and Henry's head was taken. An embalmed head, said to be Henry's, went from one private collector to another for over 200 years. 3 years ago, the head was discovered in the attic of a retired tax collector. He had purchased it in 1955. The previous owner had bought it at an auction in Paris in the early 1900s. It was in excellent condition. The head was compared to portraits. Forensic medical examiners began tests. Radiocarbon dated it and included his lifespan. CAT scans matched a mold that was created just after he died. DNA from tissue samples was found to match the DNA of King Louis XVI. How, you ask, did they get DNA from him? After Louis XVI was beheaded, someone dipped a handkerchief in his blood and stored it in a gourd. 7 generations separated these two kings, but the test proved they were paternally related. So in 2012, 402 years after his death, the forensics team confirmed it was King Henry's head. The retired tax collector donated the head to Henry's oldest living descendant, Louis Alphonse, the Duke of Anjou. A great deal has happened in Paris in the last 400 years, but King Henry IV left his mark in several lovely places. Remember the missing head story, but walk across the pont-neuf and see his statue. Walk through the Place de Vosges and thank King Henry the Great. This is Cici McNair, PI in Paris, signing off for Basic Black.
Created using Powtoon.